All right, we're with part 2, Big House Power. We're in a
so this is the main bay. This
historical.
is where I get most of my videos from, as you can see. So my oldest son, back in the day, he was a tagger. So we did a Big House Power kind of tag in the back.
Yep.
Got my dynamic fitness and strength rack. That's a Ultra Pro G2, heavy duty.
It is
Ultra
heavy
Pro
duty.
bench. It's served its purpose real well. I really am very fortunate to work with them. We've got a dynamic high and low row. Caught this leg extension.
Side
Couple
bench.
cardio pieces. And then I've got all my accessories. As you can see, I use real bamboo instead of an elephant bar. If you guys remember when you pulled in down the street near the mill house, they have a whole field of bamboo. And somehow, some way, some disappeared and made it to the gym.
What curl bar is this house?
That's a Bells of Steel.
Nice.
Adaptable curl bar.
I'm impressed. Like even the knurling on the Titan
It's a
strongman log. I'm impressed with it.
12-inch. I believe this is an 8-inch, and then this is a 4. These were made
Those
for
are
us.
old.
These were custom made for us at Arizona State by someone Leanne Blinn and her husband Rich knew. We had a bunch of these made.
20 years ago, that's what I miss, is like when you needed something, nobody was selling it. You went to a welder.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when Brian Neese first was making
I remember
equipment,
him.
and then he got so big, he had to have Powerlift manufacture it for him for a long time. Me and Chad Coy were just talking about that.
What's interesting too, House, is, and also you coming from Long Island, can't not talk about Dr. Ken.
Well, here's another cool one though. You'll like with Dr. Ken. So I'm a big NASCAR fan. I know a bunch of the NASCAR coaches.
We've seen you farmer walks on these.
Yeah, these are 160 pounds a piece. They're filled with sand. It used to have the cap. My son's a fabricator. He cut the cap and we welded them shut. So these roll about 160 a piece.
I remember I've seen videos of you doing them out on the street.
That's a tough because it's a smooth, fatter handle, so you really gotta work your grip. And then what I've learned over time, and we were talking, if you could see, so I've got numerous different apparatuses to do independent limb work, especially for my upper body. So I've got your center mass bells. I've got, luckily for me, I got some York Globes.
Beautiful.
I've got the On It Primal set.
Yes.
I prefer competition kettlebells with the D-ring for all bigger athletes. And what I've been really lucky to get
What do you mean bigger athletes? Linemen?
Bigger
big
hands
guys.
and stuff. Just the D-ring's a little bit more comfortable in hand position, especially for if you are going to teach the snatch. But then what I've done is I've tried to piecemeal it. So I've got from 4 kilograms up to 20 kilograms and 2 kilogram jumps in pairs. And then I've got them all the way up to 36 kilograms. So I can make some really cool stuff working independent limb. I've got the Star Wars brand from On It behind here. So I've got the all 3 On It Star Wars with the Iron Man set. I've got these cube dumbbells. I don't know where they're. I have no clue. You might know that. There's no names
I don't know
on
if they were hot. Somebody told me that, like back in the day, some companies just kind of cranked out these no name or brand.
I picked these up. These aren't Bob Hoffman, but they are made in the USA.
They're Hoffman, they're called.
Yeah, but they're not the original like York Hoffman guy.
No, right, but it's just a
They
brand.
got the H brand, yes.
I've seen them.
So I had to pick those up because I knew they were one-off.
All right, I don't know the story behind them. There's some other, collectors.
So this
who
one
get into it.
here is one of the original safety squat bars by Krespinik. This was one of the first ones, mid-1990s, Boise State.
And what's under it? Was it black padding?
It's a black pad. It was called ripped up, so I just
Taped it up good, baby.
it up good.
And how heavy is this bar? It's like
65
62.
pounds.
It had like this weird. You know what?
Yeah.
I saw you also have the. Is that the Elite?
The Elite SSB. That's my go-to squat bar now.
Yeah.
For both safety squat bar traditional and a safety squat bar front. Texas power bar, Texas deadlift bar, rackable, bunch of different companies, Olympic bars. I think I got an Intech. I got an Alico, Penlay, a Workasan. This was a custom bar. This is a cool custom 4-inch cambered bar.
Oh, I think I seen you do Zercher walks
yeah,
with it?
Zercher walks with it.
Yep.
I prefer for Zercher squats a thicker bar for the wrist. And I'll tell you another good bar to use for Zercher squats is your safety squat bar with the yoke pointing away.
Yes.
This pad sits good on the bridge of your...
I've seen you do also the reverse front squat.
But
Who did you learn that from, House? Because I never saw it until I saw you do
I
it.
can't remember.
Did Dave Tate?
No, it might have actually been Jim Roney, who worked for me in the 2004 at Arizona State. And then it kind of tickled off. But we brought it forefront when I went to the Panthers.
Yeah.
And it was a huge success to a point where it was because of the comfort and the feel. And what you find out with a lot of times with athletes as they get older, it's not that they don't want to do something. It's their bodies and their methods change. And a lot of times older athletes get finicky with putting stuff on their back.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
That's just the way it is. And there's no, I'm not here to debate what's right or wrong. I don't mind putting thing on my back. I just can't. My shoulder don't operate that way. So I do a traditional safety bar. But what we found was a lot of people who front squat, as we know, have hard time racking the bar. That bar is from a comfort standpoint and from an ease of positioning. We had a lot of people who were transitioning from belt squats to even leg presses that wound up going back to the safety bar front squat because of the efficiency and the ease and the comfort of it. So we definitely hit on that. We had more people convert to that than I ever would have thought. And I go back into that. That's almost where it becomes non-negotiable in your programming, when people just resonate to an exercise and you didn't really like force it on them like you do at the younger ages. Like, you're gonna do this. But when you have individuals who can make professional choices because they've earned that right at this point in their careers, and they would resonate to a lift, just like one of my non-negotiables after watching the success of it was converting from a barbell shrug pull, which no one really does it right if you're not an Olympic lifter. I call them bump outs, because a lot of times people think by bumping the bar off their thighs, but they're never really getting vertical and getting into shoulder elevation and up tall. They just kind of bump it out. So we converted to a trap bar, and because the center of gravity and the linear plane, we had guys, again, that were doing 135, 185, maybe 225 so-called shrug pulls, now going on a trap bar doing 315, 365, 405 for reps, and we're like, not even asking him to load the bar. So again, you start to, okay, this is a non-negotiable. We have to continue to script this in because we're getting too much bang for our buck. Just like a weighted box jump versus a clean for athletes who don't like to clean. Well, why am I going to script a clean if you don't like it, but I can get you to do box jumps all day? It's kind of, I like to say it's like Jedi mind tricking. I win and you win. I'm not fighting you over exercises that don't need to be done anyway. We all learned there's many ways to skin a cat. We could go on for debates like who believes in med ball throws, who believes in jumps, who believes in Olympic lists for all this. Hell, all I know is this: the best athletes are the best athletes no matter how you train them. And at the end of the day, it's let's find what works. And again, find what at least gives them the motivation to understand there's value in coming in the gym, not I got to go in there and do this bullshit, which usually happens if it's scripted rigid to athletes that understand a little bit more about training and know that this is a non-necessary lift. I can do something different. And I've been in the pros for 7 years.
Even at the high school level, you start doing that. Like, hey, we've got this exercise. Oh, but I really want to do this. You told this. I paid attention to what you said to me with when guy says, I want to do this. You're like, okay, well, is that what you love to do? Let's do it. Because if you're going to put your effort and energy into it, it'll get you better, and you believe in it.
The biggest thing is, and you know this, Zach, you're working in that level and you work in the private sector. The great thing about the private sector is when it comes to like long-term athletic development is you can mold kids from scratch if you get them at the right. Like my oldest son, he can't lift wrong.
That's right. He always trained.
He can't lift wrong. He couldn't do a bad technique exercise if you paid him. He just doesn't know how to do it. But this is a kid who was first time in the weight room doing negative chins, pistol squats, glute ham raises, and climbing a rope.
I remember watching.
He's not doing curls.
Yes.
He's doing Nordic. I mean, the guy did 55 Nordic hamstrings unassisted at the end of a workout his senior year of high school. He did 7 unassisted when he was in the 9th grade. I mean, these are things that, now And again, we joke about it now, but he used to say I Kenoviched him, if you know the Marv
Yeah,
Marinovich story. So again, that's not a proud dad moment, believe me, but it's just things you live and learn. But those are things that you have to understand. That's why training is so adaptable and modality wise. It's like there's no, like, again, we were talking about, there's a lot of cool systems out there and methods out there, but there's no one pure way to skin a cat when it comes to training athletes. Because here's what people need to understand.